They say family is supposed to be your safe place, a shelter from the cruelty of the world. But what happens when that cruelty comes from within your own blood? That night at the family party, I watched my little girl's innocent face crumble as my sister mocked her, and my mother did nothing to stop it. Their laughter still echoes in my ears. But what they didn't know was that by the next morning, the truth I carried would change everything. It's a story about betrayal, dignity, and a parent's unbreakable love. A story I never thought I'd have to tell. I still remember that night as if it were carved into my soul. The warm glow of fairy lights danced across the backyard, laughter echoed through the air, and the smell of roasted chicken and fresh bread filled the space. It was supposed to be a happy evening, my mother's birthday, a family celebration. My daughter Amara had spent the entire week planning a small surprise for her grandmother. She's only 12, but her heart is the purest thing I've ever known. She made a handmade card, baked cookies with me, and even saved her pocket money to buy a small necklace for Grandma. But when we arrived, the energy felt off. My sister Helena was there, dressed like she was walking the red carpet, not attending a family dinner. She smiled that fake smile of hers, the kind that hides poison behind pearls. "Look who finally decided to show up," she said, her voice dripping with mockery. I ignored it. For Amara's sake, dinner went fine, at least until Amara nervously stood up holding her small gift box. "Grandma," she said softly, "I wanted to give you something special." "Because you always make me feel special." The room fell silent. Everyone watched her tiny hands tremble as she opened the box. Inside lay a small silver necklace with a heart pendant. Nothing expensive, just sweet and thoughtful. But before my mother could say a word, Helena's voice cut through the moment like a knife. "Oh, please," she laughed, flipping her hair. "That looks like something from the bargain store. Did you pick that from the trash, Amara?" Everyone chuckled awkwardly. Amara's face turned red. Her little fingers clenched the box, her eyes filling with tears. And then my mother said something I'll never forget. "Helena, don't be mean," she said calmly, but then turned to my daughter with that same sharpness she's always used on me. "You know, sweetheart," she said softly, "your aunt is right. You should have asked your mother before giving something like that. It's not appropriate for my birthday." I froze. I couldn't believe what I just heard. My own mother, dismissing my daughter's pure gesture. The same woman who used to say, "Family is everything." Amara looked up at me, her lips trembling. "Mom, I just wanted her to be happy." And that's when Helena laughed again. "Just like her father," she said. Pathetic. The word pathetic echoed in my head. My husband left years ago, and since then, Helena had used every chance to remind me how unlucky I was. But hearing her call my daughter the same word, that broke something inside me. Without thinking, I stood up, took Amara's hand, and said quietly, "We're leaving." Everyone went silent. Forks dropped. Eyes widened. "Don't make a scene," my mother snapped. But I was done staying silent. "No," I said, my voice shaking. "You already did that for me. For years." I turned and walked out, Amara's tiny hand clutching mine, her tears still falling. As we stepped into the night air, she whispered, "Did I do something wrong, Mom?" I hugged her tight. "No, my love," I said, my voice breaking. "You did everything right. It's the people who should love us that got everything wrong." That night, I put her to bed, kissed her forehead, and watched her sleep. My anger was boiling, but my heart was shattered. And then, something strange happened. At midnight, I received a message. From my mother. It said only one line. "Please don't ruin your sister's life tomorrow." I stared at the screen, confused. Ruin her life? What did she mean by that? Then it hit me, something was going on. Something deeper. And by the time the sun rose, I was ready to find out. I barely slept that night. The words from my mother's message kept replaying in my mind. "Please don't ruin your sister's life tomorrow." What did she mean by that? What could possibly be so fragile about Helena's life that my silence could save it? By sunrise, I had my answer, or at least the beginning of one. When I came downstairs, my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number appeared. "You don't know the truth about your sister. But you will, soon. No name, no clue." Just that, my first instinct was fear. But then anger replaced it. For years, I had stayed quiet, endured my family's judgment, My mother's coldness, Helena's mockery. But now they were hiding something, and I was done being the quiet one. I decided to go back to the family house that morning, not for reconciliation, but for answers. When I arrived, my mother was sitting on the porch with a cup of tea. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "I told you not to come," she said sharply. "I know," I replied. "That's exactly why I'm here." Helena came out from the house, still wearing her smug smile. "Back for more drama?" she asked. "You embarrassed the whole family last night." I looked her straight in the eyes. "No, Helena. You did that to yourself." My mother stood between us, her hands trembling. "Stop it, both of you. You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I think I do," I said, pulling my phone out and showing her the message I'd received. Her face turned pale. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. "Someone sent it to me," I said. "And now I want the truth. What are you all hiding?" Helena crossed her arms, laughing. "This is ridiculous." But my mother's silence said otherwise. She looked nervous, terrified even. Finally, she sighed. "If you really want to know, come inside." Inside the old family living room, the smell of lavender and dust filled the air. My mother sat down slowly and began, "You remember your father's business? Before he passed away?" "Of course," I said. "He left it to all of us." "Or so I thought," she nodded, her eyes heavy. "Yes, but Helena, she wasn't supposed to get anything." "Not after what she did," Helena's voice rose sharply. "Mom!" But I turned to her, my heartbeat quickening. "What did you do, Helena?" My mother continued, her voice trembling. "She forged your father's will. She made it look like he left her the property that was meant for you. The family house. That's why you had to leave all those years ago. That's why you struggled to raise Amara alone." The room went silent. I felt my breath catch in my throat. "You mean all this time?" "She took what was mine?" Helena stepped forward, her voice full of venom. "I deserved it. You always got the attention, the love, the pity after your husband left. I was invisible. For once I wanted something to be mine." My hands shook. I couldn't believe the words coming from her mouth. "So you took my home, my security, my daughter's future, and now you humiliate her too?" Tears welled in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. My mother was crying now. I tried to stop her, but she threatened to expose things from the past, things that could destroy this family. "What things?" I demanded. She hesitated. "Your father, he wasn't Helena's father. She found out when she was 16, and she's been angry ever since." I stared at them both, feeling as if the floor had vanished beneath me. So all of this, the jealousy, the cruelty, it came from that? Helena's lips quivered. "You don't understand what it's like to grow up being the mistake." My voice cracked. "No, Helena, I don't, but I do know what it's like to be betrayed by the people I love." I stood up, ready to leave again, when my mother grabbed my arm. "Please," she said softly. "Don't go to the police. This family has been through enough." I looked at her. This woman who had always protected Helena, even when she was wrong. "Enough for who, Mom?" I asked. Because for me and my daughter, it's never been enough. And with that, I walked out. Helena followed me to the porch, her voice shaking now. "You're not going to tell anyone, right?" I turned around slowly. "No, Helena. I'm not going to tell anyone." Her shoulders relaxed for a second, "but I will show them." Her face went white. "What do you mean?" "You'll see," I said quietly. And as I walked back to my car, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the same unknown number. "You did the right thing. Tomorrow, everyone will know the truth." I froze. The sender had attached a file, a scanned copy of the real will. I didn't know who was helping me, but one thing was clear. Helena's lies were about to come crashing down. That night, sleep refused to visit me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Helena's smirk, my mother's trembling hands, and the copy of the real will glowing on my phone screen like a burning truth that could no longer be buried. By dawn, I had made up my mind. No more silence. No more walking away. The town's annual charity event was that very morning, hosted ironically by Helena herself. The same people who had laughed with her last night would be there. The same people who believed every lie she had ever told about me. I looked at my daughter, still sleeping peacefully, and whispered, "Today, sweetheart, you'll see what truth looks like." The event was grand. White tents, gold balloons, and a stage decorated with flowers. Helena stood there, glowing in a designer dress, microphone in hand, pretending to be the perfect angel of generosity. "Family," she said, her voice smooth and confident, "is everything. And I'm grateful for mine." I walked in at that very moment, the crowd parting as whispers spread. She came. "Isn't that her sister?" I thought they weren't speaking. Helena's face tightened when she saw me. "Oh, what a surprise," she said through a forced smile. "You're here." "Yes," I replied calmly. I thought this was the perfect place to talk about family. My mother was sitting in the front row, her head buried in her hands. "Please," she mouthed. But I couldn't stop now. Helena tried to end the speech quickly. But I stepped onto the stage and took the microphone. "Do you all know," I began, my voice shaking but clear, "that the house Helena lives in, the one she calls our father's legacy, was never hers to begin with?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Helena laughed nervously. "Oh, please, she's making things up again." I raised my phone, opened the document, and projected it on the large event screen behind us. "This," I said, "is the real will. My father left the property to me. Helena forged her own version after his death. And my mother, she hid it to protect her." The audience fell silent. Every eye turned to Helena. She froze. Her confident expression vanished, replaced by a look of pure panic. "You're lying," she screamed. "You can't prove that." "Oh, but I can," I said, opening another file. The notary's statement, sent by the same anonymous number. He verified the signature and confirmed the forgery. The room erupted in murmurs. Helena's fiancé, who had been standing proudly beside her minutes ago, took a step back, confusion on his face. "Helena, is this true?" Her voice broke. I did it for us. For the family. For everything He cut her off sharply. "You lied to everyone, Helena." Helena tried to grab his hand, but he pulled away. The humiliation in her eyes was unbearable, but it was one she had built for herself, brick by brick. I handed the microphone back to the organizer and turned toward my mother. She stood up slowly, tears streaming down her face. "I tried to fix it," she whispered. "But I was weak." "I know," I said quietly. "But your silence hurt more than her lies ever could." She reached out to me, but I stepped back. "You taught me to protect family even when they destroy you. I won't make that mistake again." I took my daughter's hand and began walking toward the exit. The crowd watched in complete silence. Behind me, I heard Helena sobbing, screaming at people to listen to her side, but no one did. The truth was louder than her voice. Outside, a cool wind brushed against my face. It felt cleansing. My daughter looked up at me, her eyes wide. "Mom, did we win?" I smiled faintly. "We didn't need to win, sweetheart. We just needed the truth." As we got into the car, another message buzzed on my phone. "Well done. The truth was always meant to be yours." "A friend," I frowned. "A friend?" There was no name, no number, just the same mysterious sender who had sent me the evidence. But I didn't care who it was. Not anymore. For the first time in years, I felt free. As we drove away, I saw Helena standing at the gates, her makeup smeared, her perfect world crumbling. She shouted something I couldn't hear. Maybe an apology. Maybe a curse. But I didn't look back. Some chapters don't need closure. They just need to end. Weeks passed. The noise faded, the whispers died down, and the world slowly stopped talking about Helena's scandal. But silence. Silence has a way of amplifying what's broken inside. My house was quiet now. Not lonely, just peaceful. My daughter laughed more these days. She no longer hid her tears. And every time she smiled, I knew I had done the right thing. Still, at night when I sat on the porch with my cup of tea, I found myself thinking about the message, the anonymous friend who had sent me everything that tore the lies apart. Who were they? Why had they helped me? One evening, a soft knock came at the door. When I opened it, I froze. It was Evelyn, Helena's fiancé's mother. The woman I had barely spoken to during the wedding chaos. She looked older than I remembered, her eyes heavy with guilt. "May I come in?" she asked. I nodded slowly, unsure of what this visit meant. We sat in silence for a long time before she finally said, "You must be wondering who sent you those messages." My heart skipped. "It was you?" She nodded. Yes, I found out what Helena had done. The forged will, the lies, the manipulation. My son didn't know, but I couldn't let an innocent woman lose everything because of greed. I leaned back, the pieces falling together in my mind. But why me? I asked softly. Why not confront her yourself? Tears filled Evelyn's eyes. Because I once stayed silent just like your mother. I saw a lie destroy someone else years ago. I couldn't repeat that mistake. Her voice cracked. Sometimes silence is the loudest sin. We sat there for a while. Two women who had both been betrayed by people we loved, and both had finally chosen truth over comfort. Before leaving, Evelyn said something I would never forget. You didn't lose your family that day. You found your strength. A few days later, I went to visit my mother. She was sitting in the garden, frail but softer somehow, her eyes filled with quiet regret. I've been thinking, she whispered. About everything. About how I failed you. I knelt beside her, took her hand and said, You didn't fail me? Mom, you just forgot how strong love can be when it's honest, she cried. And this time so did I. As for Helena, she left town. Some said she went abroad. Others said she couldn't bear to face the shame. I didn't ask. Some wounds need distance to heal, and forgiveness isn't about letting them back in. It's about letting yourself move on. Months later, on my daughter's birthday, we had a small party, laughter, homemade cake, nothing fancy. When she blew out the candles, she said, Mom, can I make a wish? I smiled. Of course. She closed her eyes and whispered, I wish our family never lies again. It was such a simple wish, but in that moment, it felt like the most powerful one in the world. As I tucked her into bed that night, I looked out the window at the stars and thought of all that had happened. The betrayal, the truth, the pain, and the quiet strength that had grown in its place. Sometimes, the end of one story is just the beginning of another, one where we finally learn that peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from truth. Some storms don't destroy you. They wash away what never truly belonged.